Hi Year 4, welcome to Maths for Monday the 23rd of February. Today we're going to be carrying on with our time, and today we're going to be trying to read time to the nearest minute. So without further ado, let's warm our brains up. As I said, today's main lesson, can I tell the time to 1 minute? And then for your warm-up, please, can you calculate the perimeter of these rectangles and squares? So there's some missing sides here, isn't there? So you need to work out what the missing sides are. And remember, the perimeter is the rim is around the edge. Okay, so we're not looking at the area inside, the area, space inside. We're not looking at that. We're looking at the perimeter, so the distance around the edge. So can you pause here and have a go at those for me, please? Okay, and I will show you the answer. So I filled in the missing sides as well. I know that this side is 5 because the other side's 5, and this side's 7 because the other side's 7. On the square, there was only one side that had the distance on it, but I know that it's a square, so all the sides must be the same, so they're all 4. And then the same with the rectangle, or parallel sides, opposite sides on the same length. So perimeter of A, 24, perimeter of B is 16 centimetres, and the perimeter of C is 24 centimetres. Okay, moving on to our time for today. We talked about this briefly yesterday, didn't we, when my minute hand was supposed to be pointing to the 1 and it was just a little bit past it. And I've shown you a really big clock here, hopefully you can see it on your screens, with all the little individual minutes going around the edge. And if you can see, remember we said we count in 5s when we go around the edge, so there's got the 5s around the outside, like 5, 10, 15, 20 and so on. And then these little lines in between are all the individual minutes. So if we start on 12 and we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can see that there are 5 minutes in between the 12 and the 1. And that's why we count round the clock in our jumps of 5. Okay, but obviously this minute hand doesn't suddenly jump from the 2 to the 3 on our clock. It moves slowly around these little minutes. It moves from 1 minute to the next. Okay, so after a minute, after 60 seconds, it will move on to the next one, and then after another minute, it moves on to the next one, after another minute, on to the next one, and so on, and it goes all the way around the clock, and it takes an hour to go all the way around the clock, so there are 60 minutes in an hour. Okay, so today we're just going to be a little bit more precise about our telling the time, and just trying to work out what the times are when this minute hand is being a bit cheeky and is in between the numbers. Okay, so looking at this clock in particular, I can see that that minute hand is on the past side of the clock. This is the past side, isn't it? On the first half of the clock is the past side. So it's going to be something past something. And I can see my arrow, my hour hand, sorry, which is the short hand, is pointing to the 12. It's just very slightly past the 12. So it's something past 12. And if I count round, I can say 5, 10. Okay, so I can get to 10 by counting in 5s, and then I can't count on to 15 because it's not got that far. So I'm going to stop on 10, and then I'm going to start counting in 1s then. So I'm going to count 5s, go 5, 10, and then I'm going to count in 1s the rest of the way. So 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's actually, this time is 13 minutes past, on the past side of the clock, 12. Okay, so it's 13 minutes past 12 that time. Let's move on. So this clock's a little bit confusing. I haven't left these on for lots of them, but I've just shown you a clock with all of the individual minutes all the way around, look, just to help us out on the first one. The key questions we need to be asking ourselves, which are down here, is the minute hand before or after half past? Am I counting how many minutes past the hour or to the hour? So if it's on the first half, if it's before half past, we're counting how many minutes past, and if it's gone past that 6 and it's going up the other side, we're counting how many minutes to it is. And you can see these numbers are getting quite big here, so that's why, because it's easier to count. This gets to a point where it's just easier to count how many left to go rather than counting how many we've already done. Okay, so let's have a look at this one then. So I'm going to look at the hour hand first of all, just to kind of see where I'm going. And I can see that it's just gone past the 1, hasn't it? And my minute hand is on the past side of the clock. So I think it's going to be something past 1. It's not going to be something to 2. because we're not on the 2 side of the clock. It's definitely not past 12, it's because it's just gone past 1. So then I'm going to start on my 12 as before, and I'm going to count around the big numbers to start with in my leaps of 5. Okay, so counting here, I'm going to count around 5, 10, 15, and I have to stop here because I've not got to the next one yet. My minute hand hasn't got to the 4 yet. So I'm on 15, and then I'm going to count in ones: 16, 17, 18, 19. And you can see my minute hand is on 19. So I can say this time is 19 minutes past. Okay, so we know it's past because it's on the past side of the clock. It's 19 minutes past because it started at 12. And I've counted round, so it's 19 minutes past 1. Okay, so let's have a little look here. Can you pause the video for a moment for me? Just have a go at telling that time to the nearest minute. So do as I did, start on the 12, count round in your groups of 5, and then once you get here, you're going to need to count on in ones, and then work out what it's past or to there. So pause here and have a go at writing the time. Okay, let's look together. So again, I think it's going to be, it's on the past side of the clock, that my minute hand, isn't it? It's not gone past the 6 yet. So it's on the past side of the clock. And it's going to be something past, not something to. So I want to look at what the hour hand has gone past, not what it's coming up to. And it's gone past 1 last. It last went past 1. It's coming up to 2, but I'm not doing 2 because I'm on the past side of the clock. So it's something past 1. So I'm going to start on 12 and count round in my leaps of 5 first of all. I'm not going to start counting in ones because that'll take me for absolutely ages, and I'll probably get it wrong because there's lots of little ones to count. So it's more accurate to do it this way. Ready? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and I can't go any further because it hasn't got to the next big number. So now I'm going to start counting the little ones. So on 25, 26, 27. So I can see that it is 27 minutes past, because we're on past still, and it's past 1, wasn't it? Okay, so it's 27 minutes past 1. So well done if you got that right. And if you didn't, if you just won out or whatever, just check that you can see how I got to my answer. Okay, that's a good thing to do. So don't panic if you've not got it written down correctly. And then do you need to rub out or scribble out? Just write the correct one underneath if you like. Also, I should say with all these clocks, you don't need to be drawing the clocks every time, okay? I did say that yesterday too. Don't draw the clocks, just write the times, all right? We're not in school to give you the clocks, and it takes a really long time to draw them. Okay, so same again, if you can pause the video, I've taken some of the numbers from around the edge away this time just to make it a little bit harder for you. Pause the video here, see if you can work out what the time is. Off you go. Okay, so having a look at the positioning of these hands, first of all, get my bearings a little bit. I can see that the minute hand is on the past side of the clock, so it's going to be past something. So when I look at my hour hand, I can see that I want to see which number this hour hand has gone past, not which one it is coming up to. So it's gone past the 12 last, so it's something past 12, and I'm going to work out where that is now. So I'm going to start on 12, and I'm going to do 5, 10, 15, 20, and now I'm going to have to start counting in ones: 21, 22, 23. So it is 23 minutes past again 12. Okay, so give yourself a big pat on the back if you got that right. Well done, you. Right, let's have a little go at this one. So this one's a bit more tricky. If you want a challenge, pause here and have a go on your own before I go through it with you, or you can just wait a second and I'll go through it. Up to you. Okay, so this one, I can see my hands again. I'm just having a little look again to get my bearings. I can see that the minute hand, the long hand, is on the 2 side of the clock this time. So it's going to be something 2. And I can see my hour hand is just coming up to 7. In fact, it's very nearly on 7, isn't it? It's not coming up to 8 because it's quite a way away from 8, isn't it? It's just coming up to 7. It's near enough on 7 exactly, and that's because it's really close to 7 o'clock, so it's coming up to the 7. So it's something to 7, okay? And to work out the 2, because we're on the 2 side of the clock now, we are going to be counting back from 12, aren't we? Instead of counting all the way around like this, we're on the 2 side of the clock, because as the key question says, is the minute hand before or after the half past? It's after, so therefore we're counting 2. So we start on 12 and we're counting back. So let's go. I might actually get my pen in a minute so I can do a dot. Okay, so I'm going to say 5, 10, and then I'm going to count in ones, 10, 11, 12, you see? So I've got to 12. So I've done 5, 10, can't make it right, very wobbly, 5, 10, and then 11, 12, and that minute hand there is pointed 12. So my time is 12 minutes, or 12 minutes, you don't have to write minutes every time, 12 minutes to, because I'm on the 2 side of the clock, it's coming back up, and it's 12 minutes to 7 o'clock, okay, to 7. So it's 12 minutes to 7, 12 minutes until it's 7 o'clock, is what I'm saying there. So let's move on. There's another one for you to try. So I'd like everybody this time to pause the video and have a little try at this one for me, please. Off you go. So I'm going to have a little look at how everything's set out now again. First of all, I'm going to look at that minute hand, and I can see it's on the it's on the 2 side of the clock. Okay, so it's coming up, it's gone past the 6, and it's coming back up the other side. So this is going to be something to something. Okay, so when I look at my hour hand, it's gone past the 12, but we're not talking about past, so I'm not interested in that in the moment, because the minute hand has gone past 6. So it's not something past 12, it's something to 1, because it's coming up to 1 o'clock, okay? We don't want to know what's it gone past. It's not a past time. We're not on the past side of the clock. That's this side. The minute hand is on the 2 side of the clock, so it's something to, and what's this one coming up to? It's coming up to 1. So it's something to 1, and we have to work out how many minutes to 1 it is. So we'll start on the 12 and count back in my 5s to start with again. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, and then I'm going to count in ones, 21, 22. So it is 22 minutes, 22 minutes to 1. Okay, 22 minutes to 1. So let's have a look at the next one. Got a little hinge question for you. The time shows 17 minutes past 5. Okay, which minute hand is correctly positioned? So my hour hand is in the correct place. I would like you to pause the video here and tell me which one, A, B or C, shows 17 minutes past 5. So pause here and have a go at that, please. Okay, so the first one that I ruled out was C. I thought, no, it's definitely not C. And the reason I knew it wasn't C was because that's on the 2 side of the clock. And my time says past. Okay, so 17 minutes past. So it's not C. And then if we look at where A is, we start on 12 and we'll count how many. It is 5. Oh, that says 5 past 5. So that's not right either, I don't think. So I think it's B, but obviously I'm not going to just assume that's true. I'm going to check. So let's start on 12 and count round to B. 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, there we go. So it's 17 minutes past 5. So the answer is B. Okay, moving on to your activities for today. Oh, I need to move myself out of the way. Get out of the way, Mrs. Eggleshaw. You're covering up a clock. Doesn't want me to get out of the way. It wants to stay there. Right. So for silver, you have to write these times to the exact minute. So just as we've been doing in this lesson, write the number of the clock and then the time that it's showing. Please do not draw out the clocks. There is no need. Okay, so just write number 1 and write what the time is. Number 2, number 3, number 4, like that. So pause and have a go at that. I'd like everybody to try that before you move on to the next one, please. Okay, so there's some answers for you at the bottom. The first one, in fact, I won't read them out because if you've pressed play by accident, you'll hear the answer, so you can just see what the answers say along the bottom. Okay, so the first one, 6 minutes past 12, and then the next one, the next one, and the next one. Okay, and then we'll move on to gold. So pause here if you need to mark the ones you've already done, and then we'll move on to gold. Now, these pesky clocks losing their hands are a bit of a nightmare, but this time my clock has lost its hour hand. What time could it be? So pause here and have a think about what time it could be. If you've got a little clock that you can fiddle around with the hands, that's really useful. But if not, just imagine what time it could be. Pause here. Okay, so let's have a look. The minute hand is at about 12 minutes to the hour. So the time could be 12 minutes to any hour. So you could pretty much have put any time, 12 minutes to whatever hour you want would have been a correct answer. So you could have had 12 minutes to 12, put your little hour hand nearly at the 12. Could have been 12 minutes to 1, so you could have had your hour hand just near coming up to the 1, 12 minutes to 2, 12 minutes to 3, 12 minutes to 4, all the way around. So lots of different answers that you could have given there. The main part of that was working out that that was 12 minutes to something. Okay, moving on to platinum, another clock, another lost hand. This time the clock has lost its minute hand. What time could the clock be? So this is the hour hand, gone past the 3, coming up to the 4. What time could it be with the minute hand? Pause and have a think. Okay, hopefully you've written a time or sometimes, because you can write more than one if you wanted to. And let's have a look. The hour hand is past the 3 and has not yet reached the 4. The hand is closer to the 3. Therefore, you should recognise that the time has not passed 3:30 yet. So any answer between 1/4 to 3:30 would be fine. So if you've drawn your hour hand anywhere, it needs to be on the past side of the clock, ideally somewhere between the 6 and the 3. So if your minute hand is pointing somewhere in this area here, that's great. I'll probably let it slide if it was after between the 2 and the 6, to be honest. Okay, so well done if you had a go at that. That's quite tricky. They're quite hard to think of those, especially if you haven't got a clock you can fiddle around with. So well done. Tomorrow we are doing, what we're doing tomorrow, we're doing some more time, and it's going to be AM and PM time tomorrow. So I will see you for that tomorrow. Have a lovely evening.